Girl, you're getting over him, and I'm getting over her. The eyes have it, babe.
Blake Shelton's marriage was dying in front of millions. Gwen Stefani just found proof her husband was cheating with the nanny. And Kelly Clarkson, she had no idea her world was about to collapse too.
Took you home, set you on the counter. Oh, at least a time or two.
3 voice coaches, 3 marriages, falling apart at the exact same time. But here's the part that'll mess you up. 12 of them found each other in the wreckage. And what they built together, nobody saw it coming.
Memories seem like so long.
This isn't the story you think you know. This is what really happened when the cameras stopped rolling. And by the end of this video, you're gonna see these 3 completely differently. Let's go back to 2015, when everything exploded.
That I used to love you, and I don't know why I cried.
You probably think you know this story. Country star meets pop icon. They fall in love on a TV set, happily ever after. But that's not even close to what really happened. What really happened involves broken trust, secret phone calls, and to people who found each other at the exact moment they both wanted to give up on love forever. Let me take you back to where it all began, and I promise you, by the time we're done here, you'll never look at these 3 people the same way again. Blake and Miranda Lambert got married in May 2011. It was the wedding everyone in Nashville had been waiting for. 2 country powerhouses, both talented, both famous, both madly in love, at least that's what everyone thought. The first few years seemed perfect. They bought a ranch together in Oklahoma. They wrote songs about each other. Miranda even got a tattoo to celebrate their love. But here's where things start getting weird.
Better thank your lucky stars, 'cause if you ever feel one break.
See, the music industry is brutal on marriages. You're on the road constantly. You're surrounded by temptation, and you're performing love songs to thousands of screaming fans every night, while your actual partner is hundreds of miles away. That's a recipe for disaster. And disaster is exactly what happened. By 2014, rumors started swirling. People close to the couple noticed something was off. Blake seemed distant. Miranda seemed angry. And their once constant social media love fest, it went completely silent. But wait. Before we get to the explosion, you need to understand what was happening on the other side of the country. Because Gwen Stefani's world was falling apart too. And this is the part most people miss completely. Gwen had been married to Gavin Rossdale for 13 years. 13 years. They had 3 sons together. They seemed like rock royalty, the perfect couple with the perfect life.
You and me, we used to be together.
Then Gwen found something on the family iPad. And when I tell you what she discovered, you'll understand why what happened next changed everything. She found messages, intimate messages between Gavin and the family nanny, someone she had trusted with her children, someone who had been living in her home. The betrayal was complete. It wasn't just cheating, it was the destruction of everything she thought was real. Her marriage, her family, her entire sense of reality, gone in an instant. Now, here's where the timing gets almost unbelievable. In early 2015, Gwen joins The Voice as a coach. And guess who's sitting in the chair right next to her? Blake Shelton, a man who, at that exact moment, is going through the exact same pain she is. They didn't know it yet. Neither of them had any idea. But fate had just put 2 broken people in the same room. And what happened next would shock everyone.
I've been a walking heartache. I've made a mess of me.
In July 2015, Blake and Miranda announced their divorce. For years of marriage, done. The statement was brief. It was professional. And it revealed absolutely nothing about what had really gone wrong. The internet exploded. Fans picked sides. Some blamed Blake, some blamed Miranda. Rumors flew everywhere. But Blake stayed quiet. He didn't defend himself. He didn't attack Miranda. He just disappeared for a while, but here's what nobody knew. During those dark months, something unexpected was happening in Studio B, at The Voice. Blake and Gwen started talking. Really talking. Not flirting. Not romantic stuff. Just 2 people sharing their pain with someone who actually understood. Gwen later said she didn't think she would survive her divorce. Those are her exact words. She felt like dying. And Blake, he admitted he was in the darkest place he'd ever been. These weren't people looking for love. These were people trying not to drown.
You know I dream in color.
And speaking of people who understand that kind of pain, we need to talk about Kelly Clarkson. Because what was about to happen to her connects to this story in ways you probably never expected. But I'm gonna save that for later. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. Back to Blake and Gwen. By fall 2015, something had shifted. Those conversations in Studio B had turned into something more. They weren't just trauma bonding anymore. They were actually falling for each other. The first public hint came in. November 2015, Gwen released a song called Used to Love You, and in the music video, she's literally crying, real tears. Those weren't acting tears. That was genuine heartbreak caught on camera. But here's the thing that really gets me. While Gwen was processing her pain publicly through music, Blake was doing something he'd never done before. He was leaning on someone.
I wrote this with Phineas. We sat at a piano.
He was letting himself be vulnerable. And he was discovering that love didn't have to mean getting hurt. Their relationship became public in late 2015, and the reaction was ... mixed. Some people thought it was too soon. Some thought it was just a rebound. Others thought two broken people couldn't possibly build something real together. Those people were wrong. So wrong. What Blake and Gwen built wasn't a rebound. It was a resurrection. To people who had every reason to give up on love, decided to take one more chance. And what happened over the next 6 years would prove everyone wrong. But we're not there yet. Because before we get to the happy ending, we need to talk about what Miranda did next. And we definitely need to talk about Kelly Clarkson's story. Because honestly, her journey might be the most painful one of all. You see, while Blake and Gwen were finding each other, Kelly was watching from the sidelines. She knew Blake better than almost anyone. They'd spent years sitting next to each other on The Voice, trading jokes, giving advice, building a genuine friendship that went way beyond the cameras, and Kelly could see something in Blake that the public couldn't. She saw how broken he was. She saw how Gwen was putting him back together, piece by piece. And maybe, just maybe, part of her wished someone would do the same for her. Kelly Clarkson's marriage to Brandon Blackstock seemed solid. They got married in 2013. They had 2 kids together. Brandon managed her career. Everything looked perfect from the outside, but looks can be deceiving.
When I let myself cause my heart so much misery.
Kelly poured herself into her work, The Voice, her talk show, her music. She was everywhere. And through it all, Brandon was right there beside her, managing her schedule, making the business decisions, being her partner in everything. But something wasn't adding up. And by 2020, Kelly couldn't ignore it anymore. She filed for divorce. And what came out during those proceedings? It was ugly. Really ugly. Reports surfaced about financial disputes, questions about how her money was being managed, allegations that made fans question everything they thought they knew about Kelly's picture-perfect life. This wasn't just a divorce. It was the unraveling of her entire world.
And all of your words fall flat.
And here's where it connects back to Blake. Remember how I said they were close? During Kelly's darkest days, Blake reached out. He'd been there. He knew the pain. He knew what it felt like to have your private life become public entertainment. Their friendship during this time wasn't for the cameras. It was real.
All right, y'all, my deluxe album, When Christmas Comes Around.
To people who understood that fame doesn't protect you from heartbreak, if anything, fame makes heartbreak worse. Because everyone's watching. Everyone's judging. Everyone thinks they know your story. Meanwhile, Miranda Lambert had moved on in her own way. In 2019, she surprised everyone by announcing she'd secretly married Brendan a New York City cop she'd met just a few months earlier. The internet lost its mind. Was this love? Was this revenge? Was this her proving she didn't need Blake? Honestly, it was probably all of those things. And none of them because human emotions are messy. They don't fit into neat little boxes. Miranda found someone new. And whether or not it was about Blake doesn't really matter. What matters is she found her own path forward.
Yeah, I'm a turner. I turn pages all the time.
But let's get back to the main story. Because Blake and Gwen's journey was just getting started. After going public in 2015, they faced constant scrutiny. Would they last? Was it real? People watched their every move, waiting for them to fail. They didn't fail. Year after year, they proved the doubters wrong. Gwen became close with Blake's family. Blake became a stepdad to Gwen's 3 sons. They built a life together that was far from the Hollywood spotlight. Their secret, they chose each other every single day. Despite the distance between their careers, despite the judgment from outsiders, despite the pain they'd both experienced before, they just kept choosing each other. In October 2020, Blake proposed. It happened at home in Oklahoma. No paparazzi, no elaborate setup, just 2 people who'd found their way back to believing in love. Gwen posted about it on social media. And the ring? It was stunning. But honestly, the ring wasn't the point. The point was what it represented.
I don't want to look back in 30 years.
They got married in July 2021 on Blake's ranch, in a small chapel he built specifically for the wedding. Only about 40 guests attended. No media, no circus, just the people who mattered most. When I say Blake built a chapel for Gwen, I need you to understand what that means. This man, who'd been through 2 divorces, who'd been so publicly heartbroken, built a church on his property to marry the woman who saved him. That's not a rebound, that's redemption. And Gwen, the woman who found out her husband was cheating via an iPad, she walked down that aisle believing in love again. After everything she'd been through, after all the pain, she let herself trust again. That takes courage most people don't have. Now, let's talk about what all of this means. Because this isn't just celebrity gossip. This is a story about human resilience. About what happens when your worst nightmare becomes your greatest opportunity. Blake could have become bitter. He could have closed himself off. Instead, he opened his heart to someone who needed him as much as he needed her. Gwen could have sworn off relationships forever. Instead, she took a chance on a country singer from Oklahoma who made her laugh again.
It's hard to remember how.
And Kelly, she's still writing her story. Her divorce was finalized. She got primary custody of her kids. She threw herself into her work like never before. And if you watch her now, you can see someone who's been through the fire and come out the other side. What connects these 3 stories isn't just the voice, it's the understanding that heartbreak isn't the end. It's sometimes the beginning. Every love song Blake sings now has new meaning. Every emotional moment on Kelly's show comes from real experience. Every smile on Gwen's face was earned through tears. The public saw the headlines, the divorces, the new relationships, the drama, but the real story is what happened between the headlines.
The sphere actually lit up in person, so.
The late-night conversations, the moments of doubt, the slow, painful process of learning to trust again. Here's what I want you to take from all this. Love is messy. It doesn't follow a script. Sometimes the person you're meant to be with is sitting right next to you, going through the same pain you are. And sometimes the worst moment of your life leads you directly to the best. Blake and Gwen found each other at rock bottom. They built something beautiful from the broken pieces. And they did it while the whole world watched, judged, and doubted them. That's not just a celebrity love story. That's hope. Real hope for anyone who's been hurt. For anyone who thinks love is done with them. For anyone who's scared to try again. So the next time you see Blake and Gwen together on The Voice, remember what it took to get there. Remember the pain. Remember the doubt. And remember that sometimes the best love stories start with the worst endings. If you're sitting there right now going through something similar, I want you to hear this. Your story isn't over. The person who broke your heart, they don't get to decide your ending. You do. Blake decided his ending would be happy. Gwen decided the same. And Kelly is still deciding hers. These aren't just celebrities. They're people who hurt just like you do. Who cried just like you do. Who wondered if they'd ever feel okay again. And look at them now. Proof that the worst chapters sometimes lead to the best ones.